Hey guys, um, I was gonna go live and then I decided against it because it's been so wild around here, my dogs and such. Oh, but anyway, I just wanted to say I had this really weird dream last Monday. Okay, so it's been over a week, guys, and I wanted to tell you all about it. And this is the thing. Typically, like when I think on them, I can usually figure out what the message is because I don't have dreams all the time. I'll have one every now and then that I feel like is important and maybe perhaps even a message from God or prophetic. And the fact is that this one came to fruition so quick that it kind of concerned me about the last part of it. Well, since I didn't know what it meant at the time, I went ahead and sent it over to Sister Sherry, and because I know she does a lot of dream interpretations and things, and I was just wanting to run it past someone because I thought, is this just a collection of hodgepodge random thoughts that I've had in my subconscious, or does this perhaps mean something? Well, let me explain what's going on because Sherry never got the email, and Sister Amanda Christian and I had spoke on it some. But this is what the dream is, okay? Last Monday, it was, I suppose, right before I woke up on Monday morning. And the dream was that my husband and I were in Miami and we were on basically like business because in the dream, we were supposed to be going around to different Catholic shrines to make sure that they were up to code or par, and I don't really know who we were really supposed to be working for, like what agency, or but what had prompted this was that there were three children and they were being kept at one of these shrines because people wanted to see them. They were part of this supposed miracle that had taken place there, and it reminded me of the three children of Fatima. And we just had to make sure that they had clean drinking water, which supposedly they didn't in this one place. And then we were supposed to head up to St. Augustine, which I know that in St. Augustine, that's where the supposed fountain of youth was that Ponce de Leon was looking for, and so many years ago. Well, in this dream, we have this gentleman who's a fairly young man. He looks like he's about 35 years old, and he's out to dinner with us, and I'm trying to get him to engage with me because he's supposed to be taking over what my husband and I are doing. Like he's supposed to be going around to making sure that, nobody's being taken advantage of in one of these places, or that perhaps maybe, like somebody is being exploited or something like that, which I am not aware that the Catholic Church has any kind of shrines or anything like that. Especially here in this country that would do so. So I'm not speaking out against them. For saying that, I know that we do have brothers and sisters that are still in the Catholic Church. And so that's a different subject altogether. But in either case, what happened was, I'm talking to this young man and I'm trying to get him to engage with me because we're basically like interviewing him to take over the position of going around to these different shrines. Well, I'm trying to do my best Robert De Niro imitation, right? I mean, just to kind of break the ice with the guy. And it's kind of funny because you don't see a lot of women that try to do like a De Niro imitation. So I'm like, you talking to me? You talking to me? And it was, if you guys can picture the scene. And so he's not amused at all. He's like staring across the table at me like, okay, lady, which some of you guys might be as well right now. But the weird thing is that we had to get back to Kentucky because then my phone went off and said that some people had been, that there was some kind of a big accident or mass event or something had happened up at the Kroger back in Kentucky, and that a couple people had been killed and everything. And so we had to leave. And they also said, that a plane had crashed into Palomar. Well, I think there's a Palomar Center or probably a Palomar Road or whatever in just about every state that you would go to. And I know we have a Palomar Center here, even in Lexington, Kentucky, but it's like a shopping center and there's a few stores in it, like something like a grocery store or whatever. And then that's about it. But then I'd already had the dream about that part of it was that the Kroger, that people had been hurt. Well, sure enough, this was on Monday morning. And so then on Wednesday afternoon, all of those bombs were sent out. And guess who one of them was sent to? De Niro, which that's weird, at his restaurant, from what I understand, which who knows what, if who sent those or what really did happen there. I think that most people are under the impression that it was some kind of well, I'm not going to get into that either because I mean everybody has a different opinion, but it could have been a false flag. I mean, like, who will ever really truly know who was behind it? More than likely, we won't know. But a lot of people said that they even sent them to themselves to try to make, I guess, Trump and all of them look bad. Who knows? I guess that's one theory. But also on Wednesday, there was a shooting at the Louisville Kroger. And a couple of people were killed from what they reported on the news. So I'm like, hold on, maybe I ought to pay a little bit more attention to this dream because apparently, there's a couple of things that have already come to fruition within a couple of days. So I've been kind of like, I Googled Palomar just to see, it said a plane crashed into Palomar or there was a plane incident at Palomar. And, I looked, and the very first thing that came up, it said that Palomar was a mountain, and it was a big observatory center, like one of those big telescopes, and that it was north of San Diego in the mountains. And I just thought, well, that's weird because we've heard of a lot of those observatories being shut down recently, and I didn't know if it had something to do with that or not. And even if it did, guys, and it already did come to fruition, would we even truly know? Because the news has been pretty much filled with the caravan coming up from the south, the elections coming up in a couple of days, and that's more of what the concern has been. And so I just thought I'd run that past you guys to see if that means anything to you, and I hope I didn't ramble too much about it because it's really hard to explain. It was seemingly random at the time, which is why I was going to get Sister Sherry's help. And until she didn't get her email, and then I thought, you know what, this is just too much to have to put down, and I'm just going to explain it to all of you guys, and then hopefully Sherry will see this too. And if you guys have any thoughts, please let me know. Otherwise, if a couple of things of it already does make sense to us, then maybe the rest of it will too, or to somebody out there. And we all get a piece of the puzzle, right, guys, as to what things are coming that we need to warn others about. And obviously we're looking up right now for our blessed hope. So I love you guys, and I'm sure we'll talk real soon.